when you do become champion, you know, by some form of magic or whatever, somehow you become champion, you start feeling yourself. You start feeling like, yo, I got the sauce. I'm that dude now. I'm the best. But you still have holes in your game that needs to be corrected. And if you don't take the time to really try to work on that and enhance that game, or at least clean those up, you won't stay there for very, very long.
Yeah. But he looks like the way he fought the last 2 fights that he might be content, bro. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just looked like you might be content, you might be happy. I just don't see in those positions the hunger to wanna, like when he fought Kobe, you could tell he wanted to like unalive that ass. You know what I mean? Like when Kobe made that reference about his dad, and bro, you saw Leon go dark in the eyes. That man said game on. You know what I mean? So I didn't see that hunger in these last 2 fights.
You know, I kind of thought that after I fought Leon, you know, the motivation wasn't there anymore. I mean, I could tell in the fight, like, I broke my foot immediately, and he did nothing. He didn't try and come after me. He just, you know, tried to point Coast to a decision. So I could tell after that fight, he just wasn't hungry anymore. He's made too much money. I made him too much money at that press conference. So yeah, I just don't think he's motivated anymore, and he should hang him up.
Leon, I don't really give a about him, to be honest. He was saying, so he said, he was talking about my size. He was like, Sean's so small. I didn't even know where he was at when I was walking up to the O2. It's like, you've realized how big I was when I was on top of you for 4 rounds, though, didn't you? So he was just saying sly shit all week, and I knew, I'm like, I can't wait to wrap my hands around this. Because people see me, I'm 5'9". I'm not a giant, but I'm not like 5'6". But I'm like, wait until you feel when I grab you and you can't get away from me, and then I can just see you breaking underneath of me. And that was the entire fight. I was looking at him in the corner. My coaches are screaming, look at that. He's breaking in his corner. You got his bullshit ass coaches trying to tell him some fairy tales to get him back into the fight. Like, lightning ain't gonna strike twice in the bottle, buddy.
In the moment, I was there in Salt Lake City when he head kicked Kamaru. And you could feel like that there was still a chance, even in the building.
Like tension in the air?
Yeah, there was some tension, and he still had some pop and some snap to him. There's been no moments like that since. Even like he looked good in the Colby fight, but he was very defensive. You know, he was defending takedowns. He was kind of backing away, and he was being a sharpshooter from the outside. And then even in the grappling exchanges, like he was very defensive, getting back to his feet. The Belal fight, it was all defense. Like there wasn't a lot of output. There hasn't felt like there's been a shit ton of output in him for a while. So I don't know, it didn't seem to have that same snap, that same pop.
I really don't feel like Leon is worse. I feel like a little bit of the mask came off. I feel like he's getting beat in one position on his feet, one position on the mat. But when you've got elite level grapplers that are studying that and they can go out and they can mimic one another, you got to solve that problem. Same game that everybody has to play, but now that shoe's on Leon's foot.
Leon Edwards has financially changed his life. I don't know what his net worth is based upon beating Usman and then successfully defending the title twice against Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington, you know, but depending on how his next fight or 2 goes, that will be legacy affecting, right? Because at this point in time, people are starting to sort of criticize the legacy, to your point, suggestive that maybe, you know, he pulls the rabbit out of the hat in Salt Lake City, Utah, and his championship title defenses against Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington for one reason or another left a little bit to be desired. You know, I have come to Leon's defense multiple times, but I do believe when it comes to championship hunger and desire, it's not necessarily a silk sheets thing. It can just be a subconscious thing that I'll live to fight another day, and, you know, maybe I'll tap out instead of desperately trying to get out of this choke and going to sleep.
It was a horror. I knew from the first round when I hit him with that little foot sweep. That was nice. It was short time, but once I got on top of him and I felt how like unaware he was of his body position on the ground, that's why I came out the second round and I was like, I'm taking this down off the rip. This guy doesn't know what he's doing on the ground, and I had his back. I think I broke the record for control time. I think I had him for 4 minutes and 57 seconds of control time. It's like a new UFC record.
I think that there was a moment where Leon Edwards had kind of given up or was throwing up kind of some uninspired techniques and decision-making during the fight. Whether that's him just being overall frustrated or whether that's him actually like mentally quitting or checking out, I don't know. I don't think that would be fair for me to say. But we've seen it in times before, even in the fight against Usman. And it's tricky because you're like, all right, well, did he mentally give up and throw out a Hail Mary and knock out Usman in that first fight? Or was that him actually being that Rocky type guy and fighting to the very end? I don't know. I think that, Leon Edwards likes to certainly lead the dance. He likes to be the hammer. He's not so comfortable when he's the nail.
You know what? And I don't want to look into this too much, but I think there might be some sort of mental hurdles Leon Edwards is facing, or challenging since winning the title, since being the champion, since coming back and losing the title to those tough fights, to having lost the last two fights more or less the same way. Yeah. It's, that really takes it out of someone, especially when, like, in a game like fighting where confidence is so important. I think he's got to try and step back, reinvent some things. Yeah. Like, change the pacing of things, freshen some things up, and then find a new love, a new goal. Because there's a lot of guys that hit the top of the ladder and then realize that it's like they've achieved their goal, they've achieved their dream, and then once you achieve that, you need to find a new one. Otherwise, you're not really fighting for anything at that point.
But as with most situations like this, Chael, where you got the old guy and you got the young guy. I'm not calling Leon an old guy, but I'm talking about the guy that we've known for a long time. The story is that guy. Is he done? Everybody will ask, is he done? Because now we have seen 2 fights in a row where a specific game plan can work against Leon Edwards. Not just a wrestler, a pressure wrestler gives him problems.
Yeah, I said this before. The blueprint is there. I kind of put the blueprint out there when you fight a guy like Leon, because when you really dissect Leon is not a combination puncher. He's not a bop, 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 hit you with combination, slide off to the right, follow up. He's not a combination boxer puncher like that. Leon is very sharp. If he has space, he's very sharp to where he can 1, 2, catch you with something. 1, 2, catch you with this. And he's very good with that when he has space and he's leading the dance. Leon can't deal with when you get in his face and you get rough and you get dirty with him. You hit him, pop, 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 and you push forward, or you exchange a combination and you push forward. He needs to create space always. So he's going to step back to try to create that space. But by him stepping back, he's giving ground. And he's giving ground. And if he's fighting anybody that can change levels and potentially take the fight down to the ground, he's in for a long night. You saw it with myself. You saw it with Belal Muhammad. And you just saw it with Sean Brady.
And I said this on Saturday, and it's worth repeating again here. This fight felt like the referendum on the Belal fight, the second fight, the one in July in Manchester in the middle of the night. If he came back looking like $1 million, he could say, you see, I told you guys, it was all about, the middle of the night stuff. I was affected by it. Never again. But he didn't. He looked worse. And so now I think that loss ages worse.
Last time Leon Edwards struggled with the wrestling, it was when he fought Kamaru Usman the first time. For 2 years, he came back and forth to AKA. I wonder what he's going to do now, right? If he has any idea or any goals of becoming the champ again, what's he going to do now to try to change the way things are playing out? It's crazy.
For Leon, he's got to figure out, what he needs to do to get better as an overall grappler, and at the same time allow his volume to come back as a striker.